Hey everybody, I think many people know sweets like Ferrero Rocher. We decided to make one such candy, but of gigantic size. Let's see what's inside at first. It has chocolate with nuts on the outside, then a crispy layer, chocolate paste and hazelnuts. Everything's clear. To begin with, we will buy the groceries we need. We bought milk chocolate, a lot of sugar, 2 boxes of cocoa powder, 2 boxes of butter, 5 kilograms each. We don't need anything else in the store, so we go to the checkout. Our check came out to $190. We also bought a bag of crispy rice, 10 kilograms of peanuts, and a bag of hazelnuts to order. All this cost around $136. We decided to use such large iron cauldrons as molds. For convenience, we bended the fasteners and removed the handles. We turn the cauldrons over, wrap them with cling film. To make a crispy layer, we'll use the rice. It's as crispy as possible. To get that to stick together, we'll make a caramel. We send half a can of corn syrup into a saucepan, 6 kilograms of sugar. We put that on the stove. Be sure to use a candy thermometer. The temperature needs to reach 146 degrees. Pour out the airy rice and mix that into the caramel. We'll pour this whole mass on top of the mold and try to stick it to the whole cauldron. And this is where it all went wrong. The caramel cooled down really quickly and is falling apart, and it doesn't hold its shape at all. And so this is difficult to call these cauldrons normal forms. We decided to redo everything. We ordered acrylic semicircles. We opened them up. And take them out. I think that this is perfect. So to keep everything from sticking to the molds, we spray with oil from a can onto the inner walls of the circle. This time, to get the rice to stick, we'll use marshmallows. We put 2 packs in a bowl and put that into the microwave. They melted down pretty well. It turns out the consistency of an elastic cream. We put the air rice in the same bowl. Combine all this with a spatula. We're left with a viscous mass, and I think we'll be fine with it. Spray some oil onto your gloves so that the marshmallow doesn't stick. And send this mass into the bowl. Now distribute it all around the form. And we continue to do this until we cover the inner walls completely. Done. The next stage is the chocolate paste inside. We take 2 boxes of butter, take them out, and put 2 sticks into a saucepan. We put it on the stove so that it melts. And done. Now we need a lot of condensed milk. This one we have left after the last video. We need peanuts and cocoa. Put the blender bowl on the scales and put 300 grams of peanuts into it. 2 tablespoons of cocoa. We open 2 cans of condensed milk. And pour those in as well. And last but not least, 200 grams of butter. Cover that with a lid and put it into the blender and turn it on. We grind this until we get a homogeneous mass. The consistency of the paste, like Nutella, is quite dense. Using a spatula, we shift the paste into the bowl. We keep repeating this from time to time. And after about 6 hours of work, the condensed milk, butter, and almost all the nuts are finished. And the forms are even less than half full. I had to buy all the groceries again. We continue making the chocolate paste. Now, once the forms are completely filled, it took 8 hours. And finally, this stage is finished. The next layer is the whole nut. We need to make 2 huge halves of hazelnuts. We'll use a lot of this nut. Now, the hazelnuts are raw and don't really smell. To fix this, pour it into 2 baking sheets and pop them in the oven. Let them warm up for 20 minutes to release their fragrance. To hold the nuts together, we'll cook another caramel. The composition is exactly the same. Corn syrup, a packet of sugar, and water. Pop all that on the stove, and be sure to use a candy thermometer. As soon as it's 145 degrees, we take out the finished nuts and put them into the saucepan. Mix them well with the caramel. We move this over to a bowl, which is the same shape as our hemisphere. Done. As soon as the caramel is hardened, we remove the bowl and tear off the parchment paper. We're left with a perfect half of a huge nut, or rather 2. Just put them in the middle of the mold into the chocolate paste. We spread the paste with a spatula so that there's a layer of the same height everywhere. Now this candy is very soft, and if you take it out of the mold, it'll just fall apart. So we send these semicircles into the freezer. That's where they're cooled down, and the chocolate filling will become dense. 2 days later, and the candy is completely cooled. Before you get to it, you need to prepare a lot of things. First, make the packaging. We bought this kind of packaging gold paper. To repeat the design, we crush it with our hands. Then we straighten it back. We unwind the double-sided tape and glue on another sheet. We have 6 in total, and we want to combine them into a huge one. Done. This second stage. For our future outer layer, you need to add nuts. Everything is simple. Put them into a blender and crush until you get like an average fraction. Pour that into another bowl. The third preparatory stage. We take a chocolate bar, open it, and break it. We fill the whole bowl with these pieces. Now we'll melt this in a steam bath. It decreases in volume, so we break more. And that's it. We have a bowl of hot chocolate. Now for last. Make some more chocolate paste in order to glue the halves together. We need to wrap the table well with cling wrap. Finally, you can bring the chilled halves back for the candy. We cut off the protruding air rise. Turn the form over. That's one half. Now for the second one. Thank God everything went well and nothing cracked. Spread all this over with a layer of chocolate. The easiest way is to pour the chocolate directly from the layer and spill it with a spatula. Now sprinkle the crushed nuts on top until they stick to the whole candy. And we put another layer of chocolate on top of that. We mix it with the nuts directly with a spatula so that it looks just like the original. Done. It turned out perfectly. And we repeat all this for the second half. As soon as the chocolate is frozen, we cut the food film off and put one half onto a board. Remove the cling wrap and apply the chocolate paste to glue the candy halves together. We put the second one on top. Everything is almost ready, and I feel like this is just as similar as possible to the original small version. So let's seal it. Due to the fact that this is paper, not foil, it turned out not very smoothly, and so the final touch is the sticker. Finally, after 4 days of hard work, our giant Ferrero Rocher candy weighing 100 kilograms is ready. I feel like it turned out really well. I calculated its cost. Taking into account of all the additional purchases, it turned out to be $940. Let's cut off a piece. Hey everybody, today we received a long-awaited package, straight from Kamchatka. We open it. Inside we see bottles of ice and Kamchatka crab. It was difficult to get it because we got it whole. It weighs about 4 kilograms. Let's open her up. When folded up, it's not that big. If you straighten his little legs, you can immediately see that this is a monster that was taken from the bottom of the ocean. There are many types of crabs, but there's usually not much to eat in them, and there's a lot of meat in this one. Therefore, it is considered the most expensive in the world. Our crab costs $220. It's already boiled. We need to get the meat out of it. We tear off the shell. We tear off the gills. And begin to unscrew the legs. We do this carefully because the spikes are pretty sharp. We pull out the remaining pieces of meat from the shell, and we get a whole mountain of crab legs. They need to be broken at the joints. This should be done with each of its legs. Now we take one leg, cut it lengthwise with scissors, and take out a nice, whole, real crab stick. We throw the meat into the bowl. After about 20 minutes, we got all the meat from the crab. Now, there are $220 in this bowl. In this form, we can finally eat the crab. It tastes kind of like crawfish, only twice as saturated, and the meat is juicier. Let's cook 3 completely different crab dishes. First up, Crab's Benedict. We'll need pieces of crab, broken into fibers, all transferred into a bowl. We take a small green onion, cut it into circles, and put it with the crab. Put a grater on top and zest a lemon into this. Cut the lemon in half and squeeze out some juice. Olive oil and chili pepper, a little salt. Now mix it up. And our filling is ready. We put a saucepan with water on the stove. Let's salt the water, pour in 2 tablespoons of vinegar, break the egg into a cup. When the water starts to boil, we quickly stir it in a circle with a whisk to make a whirlpool. In the middle, in one movement, pour in the egg. Cook that for 20 seconds. We take this out with a slotted spoon and put it onto a paper towel. Now we're going to need 2 of those poached eggs. Now let's make a hollandaise sauce. To do this, we separate the egg yolk from the egg whites. We only need the yolk, or rather 4 yolks. We put them into a steam bath and mix quickly. After 15 seconds, we remove it. Pour in a little vinegar and oil in a thin stream and mix. Gradually, this mass thickens. It remains to add salt and pour it into a saucepan. We put the grill pan back on the stove and fry 2 of these buns on both sides until crisp. We put the buns on a plate, put the crab meat with dressing on top of them, level it, then our poached eggs. Now pour hollandaise sauce on top. And finally, you need to sprinkle all this with paprika. Our crab benedict is ready. We cut into the egg, and the yolk breaks as needed. Let's try it. It's fucking delicious. Crispy toast, runny yolk, hollandaise sauce, and crab. A real royal breakfast. Next up, tom yum. All right, the ingredients we need are crab, scallops, and shrimp. Coconut milk, tom yum paste, fish bouillon granules, fish sauce, oyster sauce, and cherry tomatoes. We open the bonito konzashi, pour the granules into the pan. Pour in 2 liters of boiling water and mix that so that the granules dissolve. This will give us a nice fish broth. Turn on the stove, bring the broth to a boil, and open the coconut milk. Although it looks more like a paste, we put all this into the pot and to mix it up. Now our soup has turned white, so add fish sauce, a tablespoon of oyster sauce, and most importantly, tom yum paste. This contains all the Thai spices we need. We throw in a couple of spoons to the soup. Mix it up. Now for the seafood. Scallops, peeled shrimp, and Kamchatka crab. Cut the cherry tomatoes in half and drop those into the soup. We'll mix this for the last time and the crab tom yum is ready. We collect it into a ladle and fill our bowl up. Finally chop the greens and sprinkle them on top. Let's taste test it. Ooh, this is one of the most intense soups I've ever eaten. Such a powerful, spicy soup with lots of seafood. For the third course, whole crab legs are needed. We cut these into pieces, which will be convenient to eat. Throw those into a bowl and top those with a couple of tablespoons of plain flour. Cover this with a flat plate and shake well. Open it up. All the pieces should be evenly covered with flour. Now let's put a frying pan on to heat. Pour in quite a lot of oil and put in our pieces to fry. Fry them on both sides to form a crispy crust. Remove the pan from the stove and drop the pieces into a deep bowl. Now let's open the oyster sauce. We'll pour that on top, cover with a plate, and shake again. That's it, done. You can serve the crab pieces on a plate. This is a super sweet and sour crab. You can sprinkle it with green onions. And now, it's definitely ready. Let's taste it. This is a very elite snack, and it clearly tastes like it. Inside we have juicy crab, a crust of flour, and a thin layer of oyster glaze on it. In general, I'm pretty delighted with this crab cake. Of all of the sea creatures like him that I've tried, whether it's lobster or shrimp or crayfish, Kamchatka crab is definitely the most delicious. Alright guys, if you want me to cook some unusual inhabitant of the ocean, then like this video, and as soon as we get 300,000 likes, we'll do just that. And if we get 500,000 likes, then we'll have a very large ocean dweller. Everything is in your hands. Write us in the comments, what do you think I'm planning to cook? See you guys soon.